Welcome back to another video. My name is Henrik and today we're going to be looking at the GWM WEY 05. GWM also stands for Great Wall Motors. It's a Chinese company and they are also selling it in Europe, and this is also their top of the line car that they're selling in Germany right now. So we're going to look at it. From far away this kind of also looks like the Lincoln badge on here, but if you get closer it does look a little bit different. And if you look at the key, that's not the key, damn it, where's the key? You can see it's also, well, very long and sometimes a little bit irritating in your pocket because when it's sideways it's fairly long in there. The starting price of this car, you get two different variants. So you have the premium and also the luxury variant. The premium version, which we have standing here, is going to cost you 59,900 euros. If you get the luxury version, 4,000 euros more, so 63,900. But the special thing about this car, it's a great thing between combustion engine and electrical car because it has a very big battery and it gets a very good amount of range. And on top of that, you also get a good amount of fuel tank, so you can even drive combustion engine wise. We're gonna look at all of that, and let's start off now with the design in the front. We have this very big grille here with all these chrome touches, which is also very bendy, so you can press these in and also move them around a little bit. So well, not the most high quality there. Like I already said, this very big logo in here with a very nice center camera for the front camera integrated in there. I really do like that. We have full LED lights on the side here, which do have adaptive high beam assist. So not something as high-tech as you, for instance, get in the Volkswagen IQ lights, but they also have some pickers in there, so they blend out oncoming traffic. Fake air curtains on the side here, and also a little bit more real air intakes down on the bottom, with also some hard plastic down there. The first thing that's pretty cool about this car is you get a very good power output. So you have three motors in total. You have one combustion in the front with 204 horsepower, and that's also going to be a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo engine. And then you have an electric motor in the front with 163 horsepower, and also one in the rear with 184 horsepower. In total, you're going to have 476 horsepower with 847 Newton meters. Top speed of 235, so even that is fairly high, with a 9-speed automatic DCT gearbox, and also 0 to 100 in just 5 seconds. Let's also look at the range, because that is also quite good. But you can also see in here, this is actually fairly nicely integrated in here, so a fairly nice cover on top of the engine layout, so it looks fairly clean in here. And the second thing that's fairly nice about this car is that you get the biggest battery in its class. That's going to be a 39.67 kilowatts an hour battery, net usage 33.71, and you're going to be able to charge it at 50 kilowatts. Claimed then is going to be a 0 to 80% in around 53 minutes. We actually got 6 to 96% in 53 minutes, so even faster. And you're going to be able to charge it at a 3-phase charging port with 11 kilowatts, so also very quickly. That's supposed to get you a range of around 156 kilometers. We'll see what we get when we're actually driving. And in the back right here, you're going to be able to charge it up. But obviously with such a big battery, you're going to be losing a little bit of dimensions when it comes to the trunk. You also have an electrical boot in here, as you can tell. And in here we have now 500 liters up to 1,229 liters. You can definitely tell if you look down here, well, you don't have much space down here because that is where the battery is. You have your tire kit set, you have your warning triangle, and you also have a little bit space for a charging port. But if you don't have your seats folded over, let's quickly measure out how much space you have in here. So we have right around 99 to a meter, well, 99 centimeters up to a meter of storage space or length, and you can also flip over the seats via this lever on the side here. And let's also quickly measure out how much that is going to be. You can definitely tell there is a little bit of a hump in there, but it's nicely smoothened up by, well, that little padding that goes over it. We're going to have a space of around 1 meter and 94 centimeters if you are flipping over all the seats, so 1,229 liters. The other thing that you can do with this car, which is also pretty nice, on the tow bar you're going to be able to tow up to 2 tons, and this car is going to weigh in at 2.4 tons, so obviously a little bit heavier due to the fact that you just have the battery in here, which is quite big, and also a loading capacity on there of 100 kilograms. And like I already mentioned, you do get a fairly big fuel tank of 55 liters. And WLTP claims around 8 liters if the battery is completely drained. If it's not and you use both of the system combined, you're going to be looking at 24.4 kilowatts an hour and 0.4 liters, while we actually get real world range we're going to look at when driving. When it comes to the size of the car, it's going to be 4 meters and 87 long, 1 meter and 96 wide without the side mirrors extended, and 1 meter and 69 tall. When it comes to the wheelbase, also 2 meters and 91 centimeters. When we now look at the design of the car, it doesn't change too much, or actually it doesn't change at all. When it comes to the luxury edition, we always get these 21-inch rims on here, which are quite big, and this kind of like face lift kind of design. The further it goes back, you can see like it's further down to the ground on the front, and then the further you go up towards the back, it just gets further up. We have these foldable out door handles, which go in and go out. for a lower CV value. Automatically foldable side mirrors and all of these chrome touches here on the surroundings with rear tinted windows. As you can see, there's a ton of room in the back here. I can basically stretch out my legs. I'm 5'11" or 1.80 m tall. And I have so much room. Footroom is also plenty. The only thing that I would say is a little bit, well, not that nice, is you can see if I'm sitting straight, there's no support basically for my upper thigh. If I'm like this, then there's obviously plenty of room. Would have been nice because we have so much room in here if we would have been able to move the seat in like a little bit forward, so we have more space in the back if you're in here for a longer trip, just to have a little bit more room in the back. We also have a center console in here with 2 cup holders. And there we go, 2 cup holders in there. No light on the top, but on the side here with also some door handles there. A little bit of pocket space in front of us. And also headroom is again plenty. I have probably around 8-9 centimeters of space there. A little bit of storage space down here with a USB-C and also USB-A, I think that's what they're called, just a normal USB. And also air ventilation down here with no separate climate control. If you would get the luxury version, you would also have a panoramic window up top, and you would also have heated seats for the outermost seats. When it comes to the center seat, there is a fairly wide tunnel in here, so you can put your feet on top of it or you can put it on the side. If you put it on the side, there's not going to be much room for your passenger on the side, so you have to be putting it on top, and then it's really uncomfortable to sit in here for a longer time. If you do it like this, then it's fairly comfortable, but then you're going to be hugging your feet with your neighbor. Welcome in the inside now, and while it has a different layout than you might expect, we have a very big display in the center here. Let's actually start up the car real quick. Or not. There we go. Now let's start it up. Or not. There we go. Now let's start it up. That took a little bit. I don't know why it took so long. Maybe it wasn't hard enough on the brake there, but I'm pretty sure it was. Still not. There we go. So 4th time is the charm. And so it's inspired by the Coffee AI, and we're going to be looking at the inside now. You can hear climatization, which you can change between here. And this is a little bit of a weird layout because this display is, well, very slanted. And the sun does, well, when the sun shines, it usually blends a little bit and you can't really see much. But the nice thing is about it, you, for instance, if you use 2 fingers, you can change the amount of ventilation you want. You can also change the temperature, which is always a little bit of a funky one, but there you go. You can change the temperature of it at the same time. He's tried it a couple of times when driving. It's not the best experience because usually you don't look at it, you just hear this. Okay, if I mean, if you don't look at it, you don't even know if it's working or not. You really have to be looking at it, and most of the times it really is a tough one to try. There we go, now it works. You gotta really find a sweet spot. Otherwise, heated seats and stuff like that you have in here. You could theoretically, if you get the luxury edition, get ventilated seats, memory function, and also 12 spots of electrical seats, panoramic window, stuff like that. Steering wheel is also a pretty nice layout in my opinion. You do have these buttons, which are not really physical buttons, but they do give you well, kind of a physical feeling. So they are basically physical buttons, but they look very or touch sensitive. You also have a quick bind here where you can store something for whatever you want. So just have a nice little quick bind. For instance, you could change it for us for our camera, which you can see is very nice. Trajectory lines and stuff like that on there. And we also have 3D. And also if you're getting close to something, it's going to show you the centimeters. And also you can see the rims on the side. So quite a lot of safety features, or quite a lot of nice camera displays in there. We do also have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I don't think it is connected right now, but it's a very big display. Said dig. It's a very big display, which you will see when we're driving here in a second. We also have a little bit of storage space down here, 2 cup holders, very hidden inductive loading space in there, so you can't see your phone while driving, and you also have a good amount of storage space in there. Let's now drive the car and talk about a couple of its features. Like I already mentioned, you do have that camera in there, which does a good job. Turning radius of this car is not the greatest, obviously not as bad as, for instance, a Kia EV9, but still not the best. Especially when you're looking out the rear, you can see, well, it's a very slanted window and very small surrounding view with that window, so you really do rely on those cameras to help you out to see where you're going and what's behind you, because otherwise it's going to be a very hard time to actually see what's going on around you. The C-pillar as well is a little bit on the hard side. We can now change a couple of things. If we go, for instance, into the car options, we can see we have a good amount of different modes. We have normal, EV, charge, sport, all-wheel drive, snow, mud, and sand. We can turn the ESC off. which is all great, but we just don't have a hold function. I would have liked to see a hold function here, especially for a battery that's so big that you might want to use just when you're driving in the city. So if you're doing longer journeys, and on the Autobahn you're just using combustion engine, because I usually like to do that, and use the electrical range for city driving, you don't have the option to really adjust it too much to your liking, because the hold isn't a function here. So hold basically means that the battery is staying at its current state. So for us, if we put it into hold now, it stayed 101 until we select it again. We can, for instance, go into the EV mode, and that's going to allow us to just fully drive this car in EV mode with that big battery, claiming right now it's 3/4 full. It says 101 kilometers of range. 158 is what you get in total. That is just very big. We've been getting, well, I've been now driving this car for, I'd say, around since, well, the last 3 days, 60 kilometers, something like that. And I've mostly driven it in electrical mode, so I'd say around 40 kilometers of those were in full EV mode, so quite good. So maybe a little bit less than what you might what it actually says. So I'd say around 130, 140 kilometers you might actually be able to drive this car in full EV. 2.4 tons, obviously quite big, so with that 40 kilowatts an hour battery, or 33.71, you will still get fairly far with it. And I just like the flexibility that you get with it. You go into the city, drive in full EV mode, go out for a longer trip, you can go into the combustion engine car. You can see right now our engine, combustion engine, still claims around 269 kilometers of range. The actual range that we have on here is, well, a little bit funky. It doesn't actually have the best value, because if it actually is this 1.3 liters and 5.3 kilowatts an hour over the last 50 kilometers, then that would be the most efficient car that I've ever driven. So I don't think that is the, well, best value or the most accurate value. Usually when driving, you're going to be looking at around 6 liters, at what you're aiming for, or 4 liters if you use it combined with also the electrical motors, like have it on normal mode. You're going to be looking at 4 liters and around 20 kilowatts an hour, or even less. Most people that I've read online on forums, they claimed they'd get a total range of around 650 up to 700 kilometers, so quite a lot. One thing I'm not the biggest fan of this car as well is, for instance, this big driver monitoring system, which is very intrusive and basically looks like there's a camera completely looking at you the whole time. And maybe they could have changed that a little bit different, like most car manufacturers, where they put a smaller unit on the steering rack. That would have been a little bit nicer. Talking about the steering rack, also the first time you get in here, you're gonna have to get used to the car's blinkers and lights, basically, because when the steering wheel is straight, you don't have any indication of what those do. If you've driven lots of cars, you definitely know what they do, but you just can't really see what's going on behind those and don't really know what they say on them. Quality in this car is also very nice in my opinion. For the price segment, very well done. You can see very nice fabric on the side. Sound system in here is also quite good with 12 speakers. This Infinity sound system, which I'm pretty sure we also had on the BYD Han, or was that a Meridian? I'm not too sure right now. Otherwise, good quality all the way down until you get to the hard plastic, which is fairly typical, where you have, for instance, your water bottle stored in there. Suspension here is also fairly well smoothed out. You do definitely feel the bumps because we do have these 21-inch rims, but I think they do smooth them out quite well. It's not going to hurt your back or anything like that. Lots of people also look at the car to think, what is that car? But I do think the suspension does a good job in here. Isolation is also well maintained, and the great thing about this car is the gear shifts. You really don't notice them at all. You have a 9-speed DCT gearbox in here, but it's really hard to actually know when you're shifting or when it does the transition to the combustion engine. It does it so smooth that it is just an all-around very smooth experience when driving this car, and really feels luxurious. And also the brake pedal is very nice. You can control it very nicely. You can stop and have a very smooth stop, and all around this is a very comfortable ride that you're getting for this price segment, and a very powerful as well. The only thing that is not so nice about the powerful option or the powerful motor setup is, well, the car isn't really made for that. The steering input is a very indirect one and doesn't give you too much feedback. That's why we have also set it up, if you go into the driver settings, we've put it up to the sport feeling. If you really put it onto the normal one, you can see here I really don't get much feedback, and there's such a dead zone in the middle that you don't get much feedback. So I've put it onto sport just to get a little bit more of a stiffened input. and make it feel a little bit more direct. But again, it's not meant for driving sporty. It's more of a smooth transition in that DCT gearbox as well, to get that power onto the ground, onto the street. And it's not meant to be driven sporty. There's a lot of chassis movement as well, a lot of wiggle room as well. So definitely not something that the car is built for, more of comfort and luxurious. And also the EV sound of this car is fairly loud and dominant at times. Would have been nice if they maybe, for the inside of the cabin, turn that down a little bit. Because you can hear right now, it just has that fake EV sound, which is fairly dominant in the inside. So what is my final verdict on the GWM WEY 05? Well, I think for the price it is a very good all-around package. You get a very powerful car, you get a very, well, I like that you have such a wide range of electrical range, and then you also have the flexibility of going combustion. If you're, for instance, using it for longer trips on the Autobahn or just want to go on a vacation somewhere, then you can obviously use that. Otherwise, I think it is very well equipped for its standard features, and well, system-wise, obviously it's Chinese, so it takes a little bit to completely customize it towards your likings and standardize it to European markets. But otherwise, I think it's a very good surrounding package. The only thing that I don't like too much is the sporty driving feeling, especially with the driving wheel, and also the smell in there. You just gotta get that smell out the first week you have the car. Otherwise, hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.